Hey everyone, I'm Nathan, and today we're going to be drawing Rosé, Karina's character from Drawtectives. Drawtectives is a show on the Drawfee channel, and it's about a ragtag group of detectives who solve mysteries with really dumb drawings. And Rosé is one of my favorite characters. In this quasi-D&D setting, she's like the rogue archetype of the group, so I decided to draw her to explore her backstory. So get ready to watch my speed draw of the process along with my headcanons. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So, we actually don't know really anything about Rosé's background or her life before joining the Drawtectives gang. Karina has sort of implied that she had a rough background and that Rosé isn't even her real name, implying that she has like this criminal, shady past that she's like either running away from or she's like hiding from. And so initially I was just like, okay, she's in some sort of like crime organization and they're roughing her up. So in this image, I draw Rosé in the middle of a room being interrogated, like tied to a chair. And then I just added these characters around her and I was like, I'll just add some villains. But then I came across this image that Karina drew of Rosé and my mind went to like high school Rosé. And I was like, okay, what if her unlawful activities actually run really deep? And in high school, Rosé was part of like a girl gang. Immediately it clicked into place. I was like, oh, there's like this schoolgirl gang of thugs that are roughing her up. And then that was just the idea. That's what I had to do. It's what I had to go with. So in terms of the designs for the girls, I knew they had to be like wearing schoolgirl uniforms. But besides that, I was like, okay, well, Karina, that sounds like something Karina would have drawn in the past. So I start going through her images and I can't find any schoolgirls at all that I could corrupt and make evil villains. And then I start kind of like panicking. I'm like, oh my gosh, like who are these villains going to be then? And that's when I remembered the pose drawing challenge on Drawfee. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This is a terrible, awful mashup, but I'm doing it anyway. So basically, there's this series on Drawfee that follow a video game based off a light novel, I think, called Passion Pose. And it's about these academy students who compete in competitive posing. It's a sports anime. Really cool. Don't go looking this up. It's not a real thing. But there they were. Tall girl, who is, as you can see, the really tall girl who has to lean all the way over just to be in the picture plane. Kimiko and Deborah. And I made the three of them part of this gang. And I love Rosé's expression. I drew her somewhere in between completely over it and dissociating because she's like, these numbskull chuckle fucks managed to capture me, rough me up, and have me tied to a chair, and I'm gonna die to these posing freaks. There seemed to be so much comedy in the idea of these competitive posers being a gang. Like I imagine that they're like doing some crimes, like maybe they're like stealing things in order to raise money for their posing team, or possibly they're selling drugs, and Rosé was the runner, and she failed somehow. I went back and watched the episodes just to sort of like get a feel for the characters. So Tall Girl is very sleepy. She just got off her shift at McDonald's. She doesn't really know why she's here, but she's sort of just the muscle of the group, and she's just gonna do whatever Deborah and Kimiko tell her to do. Kimiko is the girl you see doing the crazy twisting pose in the front, and I kind of gave her like Ty Lee from Avatar vibes, but if Ty Lee was like a psychopath. I don't think Kimiko's a psychopath, but I just wanted to give her these like scary dead eyes with like very little sparkles in them so that you can feel that she's very dangerous, and you know, she's holding these knives in such a crazy way. I wanted you to feel the danger. And then the quote-unquote leader of the group is Deborah, the redhead, who's like the foreigner. And so I gave her a very stereotypical schoolgirl gang thug outfit. And I was thinking about giving her like a gun to be like pointing at Rosé. But ultimately I went against this because it just seemed way too violent. So I opted for a club/wooden bat that just had nails in it, which is still very dangerous and it would suck to be hit with. But you know, it seemed a little less graphic than just holding a gun to her head. Deborah is a foreigner, and she's like the main character that you play as in Passion Pose, and so I like to imagine there's like an evil route in the video game, sort of like in Stardew Valley when you can choose to side with Jojo Mart, or how in Pokemon there should definitely be an option to join Team Rocket. It's one of those, like it's like this hidden, really hard to get storyline/ending where Deborah becomes a crime lord completely by accident, and she ropes in a bunch of other characters to like help her in her evil doings. We're going corruption arc, we're going no holds bar, Moose Stadium style. Bo, what's that thing you always say? Moosewood Stadium freestyle, oh boy. I had a lot of fun doing this piece. It was really quick, I gotta say. Drawing ladies in dynamic poses is something that I can do kind of quickly. So I just lay in a bunch of flat colors that I pulled from the original images. So for the background, I do the whole thing in grayscale. And I decided to set it at this like construction zone, but it's like a building that's set for demolition. So they have to like tear down this old building and then construct the new one, maybe with just the skeleton. So that's why there are like broken windows in the background, but you also have these giant cranes. And it kind of added to this danger because as you can see, they're up really high in this building and there's this like really scary hole or pit right behind Rosé. So it's just gonna take one like kick to throw that chair back and she's gonna go tumbling down to a demise. So it raised the stakes. It made everything kind of scarier and creepy. I put it at night because, you know, during the day they'll be at school posing. And yeah, it was really straightforward. Also, for one more additional headcanon, I don't think that Rosé actually goes to the same school as them. Maybe it goes without being said, but I imagine that she's from either like a normal public school, or maybe she's like an orphan being raised on the street and had to learn everything herself. I don't know. If I ever get in a room with Karina, I will beg for the backstory. Maybe we'll get it in season 3. But she's definitely more of this desperate character just doing what she needs to do to survive. Whereas all of these other girls are at this like fancy academy. Maybe some of them are there on scholarships, but you know that Deborah is like a Nepo baby, at least in the evil version. Let me know your comments down below with how you think this like Rosé would meet this girl gang. Like, what were the circumstances? How did Rosé end up working with them? We're getting near the end now, so all I do is finish out carving the lighting for the piece, and then I go on top some overlay layers just to get the colors a little more in the palette. And yeah, I think I add like one more shadow and that's it. This is how it came out. It was really quick, but it was really fun. I felt like I really needed kind of like a chiller palette cleanser after I do a video with so many characters, and the vampire vid did take a lot out of me, so I hope you enjoyed these headcanons and this Rosé fan art. Let me know about what you think of this mashup. Does this make no sense at all and you hate it? Or are you like, oh my gosh, unexpected pairing, I'm such a fan? Do you ship Deborah and Rosé? Or are you like, no, Rosé and Harper forever? Let me know your thoughts and opinions and headcanons down below. If you'd like to support the channel, like, subscribe, and comment. All that stuff really does make a difference. And if you really, really want to support the channel so that I can keep making videos, please check me out on Patreon, where for just $4, you can have your name in the end credits. And speaking of end credits, here they are now. Special thanks to Blurryface EXE, Blue Uwu, Christopher, MOE, Game of Catan on IG, Gay Jairus, Melon, Pinecone, Prance, SL Blue, Smalls the Sax Jammer, Thumper Daytime, Tarthalinor, Tuesdays Anyways, and Tuppets Pies. My name is Nathan. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday, and I'll see you soon. Bye!